Hello everybody and welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns, broadcasting the Skyward Sword Talk to Yerbal Tournament 2021. We've got cjs07 and Kitcot for you today. This is, I believe, the final round of Group B in the top bracket. Commentating for us is Exto and Tatsu ISR. Say hello everybody.
Hello. How's everyone doing?
I promise to let Tato talk today.
I feel like I talked a lot yesterday.
Yeah, welcome back to another race in the Yerbal tournament. Another fantastic looking race today. CJ versus Kitcot. Kitcot currently having the current world record. So CJ might be a little nervous going in.
Yep. Especially considering the last run that he did.
Yeah, CJ's last run in the race was a bit of a train wreck ending with one of the two key points of the run where should you kind of make a mistake, it does actually potentially become impossible to finish.
Yes. Well, it doesn't become impossible. It's just the routing around that was really complicated.
Really
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
Probably a little more stupid than failing Sky RBW.
Yeah, you just press the reset button for that one. Yeah, looking like we should be starting sometime right away.
And we're off. So, one thing that I've come to notice recently is that hero mode is much more important than we give it credit for. Because obviously it allows for like enhanced Skyward Strike and double damage, which is important. But the skipping cutscenes, like just the sheer amount of time that skipping those initial 4 cutscenes saves, is like somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 20.
This would be a much more boring speedrun if we can do that.
Yeah, it'd be like Majora's Mask. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Might have been a little rude.
Exto popping off already.
I'm late, I need to get chat open. So, you want to talk about some lovely version differences?
Oh boy, the version differences. So, yeah, this is, I think, our second match, where a Japanese runner faces an English runner. Japanese saves a lot of time with text, but English has a version-exclusive trick in the Ancient Cistern that allows it to make up quite a large amount of time. Because with this trick, it does not need to push down the log or go back to Skyview, and it does not need to do any dumb brake slides. So in terms of racing, it's probably the safer version to go with. But it is also very slow in terms of text, so much so that it ends up in the long run still being 20 or 30 seconds slower than Japanese, all things considered.
Yeah, and far more frustrating. This game came out in like September of 2011.
Yes.
CJ with a nice little dance on top of the post there. Death Post, despite being in basically every single speedrun of Skyward Sword that you do now, is still one of those tricks that you'll just always reset some runs to.
Yep. So killing post is so named because it either kills Link or kills the run.
Yes.
And I've said that one several times, but it still reigns true. Credit to 64 for being very funny.
So you may be tempted to say that Kitcot has already established a fairly dominant lead in the first 3 minutes here, but once again, text differences are so big that we're basically not going to know who's in the lead until we get into Ancient Cistern.
Yeah.
Although we can
even then, like it's the end of Ancient Cistern really. Like right now, for example, I would actually argue that CJ would have the lead, because Kitcot failed killing posts once, which kind of messed up some stuff.
But yeah, it's going to be very unclear for the near future.
Yeah. Well, just use your imagination.
Fairly standard Skyward Sword shenanigans at the beginning here. Basically, every run at this point kind of establishes the same file setup for Farron Back in Time. Originally stolen from Low Percent.
Yeah. It ended up being faster for like every category, so.
Yeah, the original Farron bit idea had the Farron pillar being invisible, but that sucked. And so Pepper fixed
Especially since we've established that diving is not fun in this game when you have no cues.
So, first back in time here for the Farron pillar, of course. We do RVM Farron pillar on, so we'll start the file just a little bit before. Actually, it was originally Elden pillar. That's true. I was referring to the original Farron pillar back in time, but before Farron pillar, we actually had Elden pillar back in time, which would still take us to Farron. Since the first time you dive into any pillar on a file, it forces you into the first time diving into Farron cutscene. So even though you would dive into the Elden pillar in back in time, since you would not have the flag for like having ever gone beneath the clouds, it would actually just force you into the Farron pillar.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons that this setup saves time, is because that cutscene is deceptively long. And being able to like opt out of watching that intro cutscene is very fast.
Trey testing some Skyward Sword history here.
2020 and 2021 of what we have been pretty eventful for Skyward Sword, I'd say.
Well, it was really
EBR.
2019.
Well, yeah, oh yeah. But even like after the initial discovery of it, like it kind of reached a short stale point. And
yeah,
then,
they were like, but wait, there's more.
EBR happened. Yeah. When you thought you were done. And also with the creation of the randomizer.
Good old Lepe. Hard at work.
Hard at work.
Yeah, I'm now kind of continuing through the basic skull afro. Once again, the first 14 minutes of not 14 minutes, what, like 10 minutes? I can't remember. I run other weird categories. But
14 to 15 minutes.
14 minutes of every run is basically the exact same now.
Yeah. With the difference, any percent has to do some Skyloft stuff.
Yeah, with some minor differences for setting various flags for various back in times later. But the standard route, RBM, Farron Pillar, get the Goddess Sword, talk to Groose, and then perform various shenanigans until you have a file that has the Farron Pillar open, has Loftwing diving, but has not completed the Loftwing tutorial. And then profit.
Yeah, profit. Time save. Another interesting thing about this route specifically is we never get the Hero's Tunic, so I don't think that was ever previously... it was probably mentioned before, but because we don't have the Hero's Tunic, Link just is in the Skyloft clothes for the entire run, because going and getting the tunic requires you to place a pillar that, like in the normal game, not in Back in Time, which will trigger some cutscenes and then force some stuff upon you, but that ends up being very slow.
Technically, you can get the tunic and back in time and then just immediately crash.
Oh yeah, that too.
Because back in time does not agree with the hero's tunic. The hero's tunic causes a lot of crashes in back in time.
This is very true and sometimes very frustrating.
Yeah, theoretically, we could have had like some very interesting back in time tech many years ago, if that was not the case. But it is, so now we just copy an early file to file 2, and then we have file 2, which doesn't have the tunic, and then it also has all those conditions from earlier, such that we can head into Farron with it and back in time.
Also, this cage break to save the Loftwing is actually like deceptively difficult to do. You need to like specifically do a jump / quick spin and then side hop and then do a vertical slash and then a vertical / cancel and then another spin attack, which sounds easy enough, but the barrels will actually like Link will like auto target the barrels. So even if you're not holding Z, he'll like turn to hit them because he hates barrels apparently. But it ends up being like kind of frustrating because this can put you in an angle that, you know, isn't in a good spot to hit the ropes of the cage. Which is, it's not like a huge deal, but it's just really difficult to do fast.
Now coming up with the Loftwing tutorial, of course they both copied a file beforehand so that we can get all of the shenanigans onto that file so that we can continue the game with this file. Actually, that's not entirely true, but it's close enough.
Yes.
We will be getting rid of this file shortly. And you can see CJ there having a little bit of troubles with the rope, just as Tata described.
And here comes the 2-frame cutscene skip. Can Kitcot do it?
Ooh.
He can.
Kitcot gets the skip. That is very interesting. So that saves roughly a minute and a half, minute 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And so that is really big in a category that is just an hour long. So if CJ does not get the cutscene skip, then he'll be at a significant disadvantage.
This is accurate. Yes. Interesting thing about that cutscene skip is that the first frame available you have to side hop, the camera will actually be inverted. So if you're holding the nunchuck to the left and holding Z, you'll actually side hop to the right on the first frame, which can be a little disorienting because if you're mashing it, then you could run the risk of accidentally jumping back into the cutscene trigger, which is very frustrating and very annoying. And something I've totally never done before.
Kitcot now coming up on the Sky Reverse bit warp. The infamous trick that nobody
The safe
fails.
one.
Yep, the safe version. So the safe version is really nothing to worry about. So you shouldn't have any troubles with it. CJ, they're not getting the cutscene skip. So once again, that puts Kitcot now with the routes at the position they are. Kitcot has about a minute 10 second of a faster route than CJ.
Yep.
Considering the fact that Kitcot got the skip and CJ did not. So that is a minute and 40 seconds, sorry.
Yeah.
So that is very
Skyloft
big.
loses an additional 40 seconds.
Well, I mean, like,
so
overall.
it would probably be...
It's the 20 seconds
overall.
over the entire run plus the minute 20 from that.
Yeah. It also depends on extending blow because extending blow adds another 12 seconds of difference if they both miss it. But then it's really weird to calculate with extending blow since Japanese has to go back and push the log to be able to get back to Skyview faster.
CJ with the luckiest case RNG I've seen in my entire life. You can't actually do back in time in that cave there. And so you need to run all the way to the cliff. But if you dive to that dive in that cave, then you just have to like walk to the cliff again.
Run through it again. Which loses
thankfully, he had very lucky
plenty of
keys,
time.
which did not hit him twice when he ran out of stamina.
Keys
Kitcot.
typically, when they're in a group, are like less annoying than when they're individual.
Is that true? I don't think that's true.
In my experience, because sometimes they'll like get in each other's way when they try to attack.
I don't know, man. There's that one room in Fire Sanctuary.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay, never mind. Keys just suck. Ignore everything I say. If you see a Keys, kill it. Whatever you do.
Kitcot having now going back into the Loftwing tutorial after getting Loftwing diving, and can now dive into the Farron Pillar. CJ having to do the Sky Reverse Bit Warp. It is likely that there will be a significant gap between these two, potentially for the rest of the race.
Yes. It depends on, or at least for this next part, it's going to be significantly, Kitcot is going to be significantly further ahead until like late game stuff, because the whole Kiwi quest stuff ends up losing way more time, and unless you die during the quest, there's not really much you can mess up there. And dying is like very difficult to do when you're saving the Kiwis.
Except for fighting Lopsa. That's the only time that you're at risk of getting hit.
Well, and technically Machi.
No,
but it is like two bokoblins.
You could jump into the Deku Baba between the second mushroom and Machi. That's a classic new runner death.
Oh boy.
Everybody's done that and then never done it again.
Accidentally jump to cross to the Elder and like hit a weird angle and land on the slope and get yeeted.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So Kitcot now landing in Farron, now starting his first Farron back in time. So we'll now be performing Sealed Ground skip, because Sealed Grounds actually has nothing useful, and it's just faster to skip it. Yep. Copying... Wait, did he copy file 3 to file 2? What did he just do? That looked weird.
He copied file 3 to file 2, because we need two files that have not saved the Loftwing. Because file 2 is going to be saved in Farron, and file 3 is going to be saved in Skyloft.
Yeah, I was confused because of English routes.
Yeah.
CJ will be doing very different copies throughout the entire route.
I thought during the beginning that it was the same. There's just some copies later that are slightly different. Because in my runs that I've
whatever the difference is, it makes me mess up no matter which road I run. But anyway.
Copying files is probably the most punishing thing in this game to mess up. Because copying a file could potentially make your run irrecoverable. Or copying a file you're not supposed to, or forgetting to copy a file. Could basically dead end your run. And
I think technically you could always recover. Like, I can't think of anything that you couldn't recover from, because you could always just play the file up until that point if you really wanted to.
Yeah, but like if you copy a file that you're not supposed to during the or before the trial reverse bit warp, there's not much you can do to save it.
Okay, yeah. As CJ...
Like, copying over your main run file is bad.
So, Kitcot doing Sealed Ground skip with no issues. I think he had a bit of a monk-ass moment, diving towards the pillar and back in time. Not really entirely sure. But now saving file 1 and file 2 in Deep Woods. Resuming file 2 from later. But then for now, head on to file 1 and save some Kikwis.
the most fun and intriguing part of the run.
Yes. If you gotta go to the bathroom, now's the time.
Go get a snack, come back. Come back later.
Eat an apple.
Apple. Banana gang, rise up.
CJ now landing in Farron Woods. Or not Farron Woods, sorry, just Farron. Can even with the text difference, you can really see just how much time the wing ceremony cutscene skip saves.
Yep. And it's a bit unfortunate that there's no real way to route around it.
There was a hundo route that was briefly the fastest that didn't have it.
Yeah.
And it's
if you could die in the wing ceremony, or I mean, sorry, in the waterfall cave, wing ceremony skip would save like what, 10 seconds?
Yeah, something like that. It'd be really small. I think it'd be more than that though. I think it'd be like 15 to 20.
Yeah, something around.
But it's one of those magic locations where back in time doesn't work because of respawn flags. I think.
Yeah, something about that. Lippin knows more about it than I do.
Yeah, and Pepper.
I'm not qualified.
All these big brains.
And Pepper. The big brains. Azer, Pepper, Lippe.
Trifecta.
The trifecta. The Triforce of Skyward Sword routing.
Yep.
Who would be courage, wisdom, and power, though?
A sick raid
had to...
Zelda speedruns.
Oh,
welcome,
boy.
Everybody. Just some Skyward Sword yerbling action.
Yerbaling.
This is
It's a verb now.
Is this the final? No, this isn't the. Yes, this is the final race of the winners bracket, or for Group A, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So.
And then loser of this match faces 64, I believe. And then.
Or sorry, Group B. My mistake.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's Group B.
And so the winner of this will be moving on to the single elimination bracket, and the loser will be going to the finals of the losers brackets.
Which is, I believe, against 64?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And the winner of this race will actually, I believe, race me.
Yeah. Precisely.
Ooh. I haven't raced in fairly long.
Yeah, I haven't done this category since my last race. Don't worry about it.
Well, I've been running all dungeons, which basically helps you practice everything except the tornado flying part. Because like you have trial, reverse, bit
forehead.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, CJ now finishing up his sealed ground skip. Thankfully, didn't have any issues there. It is very easy to do something silly in back in time.
Yeah. Biggest thing is the Lake Floreador cutscene soft lock. That if you select a Skyloft file during this sequence while facing Lake Floreadors, the doors cutscene opening will play, and then if you accidentally select that file again, then the door cutscene will try to play a second time. So it'll just kind of like
move the camera and soft lock.
Move the camera and then soft. Yeah. Same thing with would happen with the Skyview door opening, but we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that a lot of the things about back in time that are the hardest are things that you don't see. Mm-hmm. Like avoiding early life tree seedling, soft lock, and not crashing and stuff. That's all the stuff that makes back in time so hard. And it's kind of difficult to just understand exactly how precise, or not necessarily precise, but how like accurate you have to be with what you're doing in back in time, or else
remembering like which files have which flags. Yeah. Remembering
and then backing
where
up,
each file is saved.
Backing up messed up back in times is an adventure.
Oh boy.
It's something
the Hundo
that
race was a prime example of that, I think.
yeah, that was a great example of that, where well, you can just treat back in time like a laundry list of random actions to perform. And theoretically, if you do not make any mistakes, that won't be an issue. But if you do something like, you know, forget to pick up a rupee somewhere to load items, you may think that that's just rip and you have to start it over, or you could just, you know, shoot the slingshot or something to load those same items.
Yeah. Unless you run any percent, in which case you don't get the slingshot.
Well, just
you can't do that. Well, that's specific, yeah.
A very, very random example. But an understanding of back in time definitely goes a long way to helping with running this game. Although it also is pretty tricky to develop an understanding of back in time, and I still feel like it makes no sense to me. But I guess I kind of understand it.
Yeah. I guess the most important thing to think about when trying to understand back in time is that when you're in back in time, you're essentially in two places at the same time, depending on which files you select. And the game will try to read information from, you know, a certain place. If you load in a file, it'll be a different map, which makes some weird overlaps.
Yeah, exactly. Kitcot finally coming up to slingshot. We can all wake up, get off the toilet, put down your water, come home from
Finish
brunch.
Eating the...
And so after this, we'll be heading into Skyview explicitly to set some flags so that we can access the Farron trial, so that we can get the water scale, so that we can get into Ancient Cistern, so that we can get into the tree. It's like random, but you know where you're going.
Yeah, this route seems really connected when you like hear about it or read the route, I guess. But then actually playing through it, it seems pretty linear in what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, the ultimate goal is just to get to the top of Ancient Cistern as fast as possible. Because from the top of Ancient Cistern, there's a very conveniently placed bird statue, which you can use to reverse bit warp into the Great Tree, and that puts you at a phenomenal position to just run and talk to Yerbal.
Yeah. It's very convenient that that exists, and shoutouts to Azer again for finding that out, because before that we would go get claw shots in Lanayru, and this route was like an hour and a half to 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, getting to Lanayru is really slow. Takes like 50 minutes.
Yeah. CJ running out of stamina on the rope, which is not a very good place to run out of stamina.
Oh, but you also need slingshots, so it'll be longer. Okay. Yeah, it's running out of stamina on the rope and falling is a very silly mistake.
Yeah. When you run out of stamina there, Link kind of... Ooh, yeah, Kitcot getting Extending Blow, I believe for the first time ever. For his runs. He's never specifically gotten it in this route.
Yeah, so that's just more time difference between CJ and Kitcot. So CJ already maybe hoping for a stroke of luck for Kitcot to crash or something. But Kitcot definitely has a significant lead at this point, and even failing a back in time once or twice will still have
depending on which one it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but Extending Blow saves more time in English than it would for Japanese. Japanese saves roughly 27 seconds, was what I timed it to be. While for English, it saves upwards of 50 seconds, like 50 to 52, which is insane. Yeah, Kitcot is definitely on world record pace, especially with Extending Blow. That's like free 27 seconds to his PB. I think the biggest mistake
I wasn't
he's made
paying
so far
attention.
is fumbling with Killing Post.
I wasn't paying attention, but he's a fairly consistent slingshot, so Kitcot is a pretty speedy boy.
But you made it all the time. He made it all the time up from failing killing post.
Oh yes, and
He
then
made
some.
all of that time up with extending blow. Yeah. So he should be ahead of his PB by like 17 seconds or something. Unless there's something else that we didn't catch.
But yeah, definitely a phenomenal pace so far from Kitcot. There's still nearly half an hour of run though, so lots of things could still happen. Kitcot having no issues with the early Thunderhead RBM, which is good.
And now
It's
here's
really
the
not
very
hard.
difficult part. Yep. So here comes the very, very difficult part of flying without getting hit by a tornado. But we'll see if you can pull it off.
CJ having a bit of a habit of running out of stamina today, it seems.
And again, like, it's not a huge deal. Like, it doesn't lose too much time, but it makes you feel horrible.
Yeah, man, does it ever feel bad.
Oh, boy.
Uh,
You could,
Kitcot
like,
heading
be
in.
ahead by 10 minutes, run out of stamina once, and then feel like you're behind by half an hour.
Yeah, Kitcot looking like he's taking a good line where there should be no tornadoes, so he shouldn't have an issue with that. His only concern then will be diving onto the Isle of Songs,
Yes.
which once again
I
is
used
not
to think
a
was
difficult
free.
thing, but it has been failed in this tournament against all odds.
This is a showcase than anything, so you gotta showcase every possible way to lose this, to lose runs and make mistakes.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, nearly everything that could have possibly gone wrong in this run has gone wrong at some point in this tournament. Like, there have been...
Dying during Kikui Quest is like the one thing that has...
Yeah. Like, myself included, like, so many of these runs have had such, like, dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it sounds a little harsher than I guess I intend, but there have been so many silly mistakes in so many of the runs.
Yeah. It looks silly from like an outsider's perspective, but there's so many variables with races, like all the nerves and comparing against your own best times can be like it can get in your head a little bit.
Yeah, and it's so easy to just bleed out time in Skyward Sword and lose a few seconds on every split for an hour, and then end up being a minute and a half slower just due to movement.
Yeah. And Exto, as someone who's run a lot of hundo, knows like exactly what that is.
I know a lot of what not to do.
Yes.
Apparently,
and I believe
Kitcot is
like
currently tied with record, so
ooh, like half a second faster.
yeah,
record,
tied.
which is something.
It is ahead.
Yep. I wonder where his limbs went though. If he's just ahead.
Hey.
That was a bad joke.
Yeah, but now with Pharaoh's Courage, Kitcot can head on to reverse bit warp into the Farron trial and can get the scale, which is starting to be one of the last pieces of the puzzle to head toward Yerbal.
Yes. With this specific reverse bit warp, there's a lot of like minor time saves or time losses that can add up. Like if selecting different files at different times will give you extra text triggers, which on English are more punishing than on Japanese, but you can get those same text triggers multiple times and end up losing like 30 seconds.
Yeah, Kitcot once again,
And also,
one of the most consistent runners. So I don't think we'll have any issues with his back in times. And he's definitely done a lot of practice. Probably done more practice than nearly anybody else in the tournament.
I think that's safe to say. CJ unfortunately missing extending blow, which will widen the gap between him and Kitcot even further. Time difference between English 1.9 and Japanese? Yes. Roughly 20-25 seconds in favor of Japanese. If both get extending blow, it's about 20 seconds. If both miss extending blow, it's closer to 37 seconds. Probably a little less. And I believe if Kitcot got extending blow and CJ missed it, this is
yes,
like goes to around a minute.
Kitcot with another extremely awkward dive into the fair and pillar and back in time.
Yes.
Also saying something ominous in chat. Potentially we have an issue coming up here.
Ooh. Ooh, the log isn't appearing. Did he forget to copy a Skyloft file? He may have missed a copy somewhere. He needs to have a file saved in Skyloft.
He can just save this file on Skyloft.
Yes.
Or like he could... No, he didn't check the statue with file 3.
Oh, right, yeah. Check sealed grounds with file 3.
Yeah, so checking a statue
Yeah.
is one of the things that... what is he doing? He
He's
also
trying the back
didn't
in
need
time
to
again.
reload the area there.
Yes, because only you would only need to reload in certain areas that have weird respawn flags.
But basically, you can
Checked with file 2.
commit the file 3 flags, as we say, and then load those
You need to
flags
check
later.
with- Yes. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, there's no issue. It was just a bit of a mishap when interacting with this statue.
Yes.
So
The reason he doesn't need to, because we do need the flags of the Deep Woods later. Merely selecting that file will auto-commit the flags from it. So if he just selects during the first glitched cutscene, the flags automatically commit.
It's actually interesting that
Unfortunately, yeah.
that Kitcot made that mistake. I would have thought that Kitcot would have been able to realize his mistake and recover it, as we were talking earlier, as Kitcot is fairly experienced. But I guess the heat of the moment just led him to redo the back in time, because that is really the easy way out, is to just say, all right, I'll start it over, and I'll just do it right this time.
Kitcot specifically has had some issues with back in time, tending to realize things after he does them. Like if he forgot to commit something, he'll reset the back in time and then figure out what happened. Or if he accidentally goes into somewhere he shouldn't, he realizes that it's a crash after he tries to reload the area. Stuff like that.
I shouldn't have any issue this time, though, having checked the statue with the proper file. It does give CJ a bit of an, not a bit of an edge, but I guess it loosens Kitcot's edge, because Kitcot, even with that mistake, probably still has the route advantage with his extending blow and his cutscene skip and his just raw text advantage.
Yep. This whole area, I think, up to after the Farron trial, ends up like kind of evening the difference between English and Japanese just a little bit. By like, actually, I think by like 40 seconds or something, the difference becomes closer to... Actually, I forget. I gotta look at my own video that I made on this.
Dude, this guy and his timing.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Kitcot having no issues with the statue interaction on the viewing platform. It can be a little bit awkward. He may have... he was pretty dead on to the statue, so I think there is a chance that he does have to watch an additional cutscene, but it's really not an issue. It's just a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't open the splash screen if he gets the cutscene, he should be okay.
Okay, he didn't get it. What a guy.
What a guy.
Now, holding his Wii remote very still as he presses A to copy.
Yes, if you accidentally make a motion with the Wii remote while pressing A, you enter the trial, and then by then you can't really select a file quick enough, so you would have to load into the trial back in time, which is a little bit confusing. I don't think that's too big of an issue, though.
You really have to jerk that thing to get that sword to go in. You have to slam that thing down. But
with the calibration issues he's been having throughout the run, it might have happened.
Oh, fair enough. So now, intentionally getting caught to avoid the CJ softlock.
The CJ softlock, that's the name of it
If it's the Exto RBW, it's the CJ softlock.
Man, I gotta mess something stupid now so I could have that named after me.
But the rest of the trial is really not an issue. If he does land in some waking water, he will have to do some frame perfect side hops or front hops. But you have as many tries as it takes you. So it's really not too bad. Still a pretty demanding lead. Commanding lead, not demanding lead over CJ. It shows one empty thing because we reversed bit warp into the trial. Or something like that. It's basically just because we didn't enter the trial properly. Instead,
the first
reversed
tier
bit warp in.
the first tier he got gave him a text box, which let the game kind of know that he collected a tier. But then the second tier was, I believe the reason this happens is because the second tier was collected in a state of the game where the game doesn't think that you were actually doing the trial properly, because you technically haven't received the Vessel of Light yet. So some issues with how you enter the trial, since the game will assume that you entered it from that center flower petal. Not going in there first kind of makes it so that the game doesn't think you actually collected that tier, but you actually did collect the tier.
CJ now beginning his reverse bit warp into the trial, as Kitcot is finishing up his trial.
So yeah, this is kind of the reason, or this is some weirdness that we're seeing here with the trial, that the flower petal thing with the item that he was supposed to get came out, but then instead of getting the item, he got some phi text, and then after that, he began the animation of getting the Vessel of Light, and then instead got the Water Dragon scale. So some kind of weird stuff that runners often meme about.
We had the true Water Dragon scale with us the entire time. We just had to realize it. The true victory is the friends we made along the way. But with that, he'll be heading back into Skyview to set up a reverse bit warp into Ancient Cistern, so that from Ancient Cistern you can set up a reverse bit warp into the Great Tree. CJ not having any diving issues, thankfully. Although it does look like he was playing his
doing,
diving pretty safe, not diving at a very aggressive angle and also flying up nice and high. Definitely a wise choice.
Yeah. If you accidentally void out during that diving sequence, it's not irrecoverable. It loses a bit of time, but you have to remember to recall the Loftwing with a file that can dive off of the Loftwing in the first place. And if you don't, then you kind of can't dive off your Loftwing again and have to redo the back in time.
That's extremely important because landing on your Loftwing loads your story flags, and one of those story flags is whether or not you can dive off your Loftwing.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important.
Yep.
I actually noted that CJ got the same text as Kitcot back in the sealed grounds back in time. So kind of funny that they both made that same little issue.
Yeah, if you're in the sealed grounds, and you select who, which has the flag for the story flag for having got Furor's Courage. Fi will tell you all about the trial gate that's supposed to be there. And this will happen if you have that flag, no matter where you are in the game, as long as it's your first time, like, that the game thinks that you have Furor's Courage and in the sealed grounds. As we see this in any percent and all dungeons, I believe. I'm not super sure about 100%, but you'll be doing early boss rush, and then since the game puts you in the sealed grounds, and the flags you have like line up with the story flags of getting ready for the trial, I will tell you about the trial even if like you're in early boss rush, which can be kind of weird. Oh, fair and banned in rando races. I didn't know that.
Well, it's also just like kind of hard because you're like forced to have the gimmick, but that's kind of besides the point. Beyond the scope of this run, Kitcot with yet more diving issues into the pillar.
Oh boy.
Thankfully, still managing to land in the pillar though.
I think I've had like one or two times where I've hit the edge of the pillar as I've as I start going under the clouds, so I technically hit the pillar, and it kind of makes the camera like spaz out. It also gives you a heart attack, but
see if CJ remembers to get caught today. I'm sure he will after what happened. What happened in his last race. Kitcot making his way toward Ancient Cistern for his lovely reverse bit warp. We have to reverse bit warp it, in fact, because there's the waterfall blocking. There's normally the waterfall blocking Ancient Cistern, but if you go load into the area with a file that doesn't have the water dragon scale, then you're on layer 0, which doesn't have the waterfall in the way. So we can load in, and later layer 0 can load in the scale, and then you can reverse bit warp it.
And then making an inventory change or environment change will load in the water dragon scale into that map, and then you could just jump right in the waterfall and reverse bit warp in. And here comes the brake slides. First one kind of sketchy. We'll see.
Pretty decent second one, and third one.
And he died. That's unfortunate.
That is one of the mistakes that could allow CJ to make up a very significant amount of time, because not only does he have to redo the brake slides, but Kitcot also has to redo the entire setup process for it. So he has to redo the entire back in time.
Yes. Which I believe loses 3 minutes? little.
Yeah, fair and
more
back in time in general is actually a really slow trick.
Yes.
Like it takes like 40
you
seconds.
have to die, go through the.
Just to be able
Yeah.
to activate it back in time. CJ landing in the Waking Water, by the way, so we'll be able to see exactly what we meant by that pseudo soft lock. So basically, CJ just has to mash. Oh, looks like he got a third try there to
Not bad.
to try and
for a
hit the one
frame-perfect
frame where
trick.
you can side hop out.
Yes.
But back to back in times being slow. It's actually kind of funny because previously, a long time ago, back when the dinosaurs roamed Skyward Sword, there was like some interesting routing decisions that everybody used because it was basically like, oh, this uses a back in time, therefore it must be faster. But there were several cases where we found that to not be true later on, just because once again, back in time is quite slow.
Yes. An example of which is skipping Skuldera, which requires Farrenbit to do, which ends up losing like a minute to optimize.
That one's like obviously bad. That one's so bad.
Yeah, it's obviously bad. But much to every runner's dismay, because if the specific that flag actually does exist on Skyloft, but the layer it exists on crashes during back in time, and there's no way to access it. So
CJ, having remembered to have been caught, is not going to soft lock at the end of this trial.
Yep. And as 64-bit discovered, actually, for some reason, opening up the map also soft locks you. Like, any time during this trial, opening up the map will soft lock you.
You know, you could have put me in the Farron trial for 1,000 years and I would never open the map.
Yeah. He discovered it, I think he was, like, multitasking with a... I think Thray had this happen to him, too. Either him or Mario. Where they were multitasking, watching a stream, and then paused it so they could type something in the chat, and then, or like opened up the map so that they could type something in the chat, and then ended up like soft locking.
Kitcot coming up on his second break slide attempt. Putting some ominous messages in the chat again.
Oh boy.
So, could be.
Kitcot with the spoilers.
Could be bad news or good news. It could be very clutch. Everybody, get your pillows to clench and hug real tight. As we watch Kitcot do his break slides here, pretty solid first one. Oh, very interesting second break slide. Actually, going to be very difficult to recover from that.
Oh.
Very close there.
Sucks.
But accidentally putting
very
the
close.
nunchuck...
Never seen that happen.
Yeah, accidentally putting the nunchuck
such a weird
little
angle.
to the side.
Yeah. This still actually doesn't put them even quite yet. Since actually no, it might.
It totally
does. Because CJ's actually
they're both on their way into Cistern, and CJ has a faster Cistern than
That's true. He doesn't.
Kitcot
He
does.
has a 40-second time save in Ancient Cistern.
Dude, this guy. But CJ does have a significantly faster sister. 40 seconds apparently. So yeah, that does give CJ a decent shot at victory, especially if Kitcot has a couple nerves on him going into the third break slide attempt here. We are now witnessing firsthand why I am running on the English version.
Also, yes, Harm, you will always have 2 hearts going into this, because you're forced to take 4 hearts of fall damage from the position you bit warp into, or reverse bit warp into. And then the break sliding, you can only take 1 heart of damage from the break sliding, so...
yeah, I guess the alternative...
You will always have 2 hearts to do that.
I guess
the alternative would be...
either get the sailcloth or get 4 heart pieces.
Yes.
Both of which are really bad options.
Honestly.
Or like continue through the game normally until Ancient Sister.
That's also you can do vanilla.
Yeah, you could like beat Girium 1 But basically,
him one.
realistically, you're always going to be on 6 hearts going into. Well, I guess you could be on 5, but you just not ever make it.
Yeah, the other alternative, like from a back in time perspective, is to do the second Skyview statue, which will take 0 hearts to do optimally, but will lose about a minute and a half.
Really, it loses a minute and a half?
Yes, because you would have to hit the crystal to the first room for the first room to open.
Oh yes.
Because that, for some reason, ties to the boards being broken to be able to access the statue quicker. Then you have to reload area. You also have some extra magma text you have to go through. And also swimming around to the rope is slower than actually brake sliding. So.
Alright. Oh, Kitcot coming back into Ancient Cistern. CJ hot on his tail.
Take 3.
Alright, everybody hold your breath. No.
Oh, you didn't mean literally.
Oh dear. Kitcot with more scary words in chat.
More ominous messages.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
But it was he faked us. So he did
Faked us
make
out.
it. That seemed pretty close to me. I don't know about you, but
Oh yeah, that was
definitely,
definitely very close.
definitely did not have very much time to spare there. But he did make it,
Yes,
which is the
he
important thing.
Started running up the wall, like, right before he was supposed to die.
So that's very good. CJ landing safely in Ancient Cistern, and as long as he saves, then nothing can go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Kitcot
Remember to
actually
save, CJ.
still at risk.
Represent for English.
Kitcot actually still at risk of being sent all the way back to, I guess, Skyview. Because if Kitcot currently dies, he was last saved at Skyview, and he hasn't gone through, like, a loading zone. So, if he dies, he will respawn at Skyview, and then have to get back into Ancient Cistern one more time. Although this time he has the boss key, so he could do, he wouldn't have to do the brake slides. He could, like, hit save on Skyloft, and then use the Water Dragon scale to get the key.
Yeah. It still would be very bad, because that reverse bit warp loses, like, 4 minutes.
Yeah, it would be just as much time loss as the previous mishaps. CJ now
another
showing
thing
off.
to point out, CJ he was doing a death warp before because this clip takes 2 hearts of fall damage, so there's no way to survive it without doing a death warp. Also showing off how tricky this beginning segment, at least, out of bounds movement can be after Cistern clip. Specifically, that first, like, wall there is very tricky to get around, but then the collision extends, like, a pretty generous amount outwards.
Ooh.
And then he clipped back in bounds accidentally, which is bad, because he has to redo the clip again. This also will add an extra death warp for him later.
Yeah. Although it does add some safety onto his reverse bit warp into the Great Tree.
Yes. So, jump slashing barely at the last second there. Never seen it that close. Alright, made it past the first barrier, and then voided out. And Kitcot making his way to get the small key, which he needs to do in order to get the whip. But with Cistern clip, you can just, as we can see with what CJ's doing, he just runs around and then loads the whip room, gets the whip.
Yeah, Kitcot's on his way to get a small key that CJ is going to completely skip. So it's actually a very close race now.
Yep. Thank you, Kitcot, for your generous time loss.
Actually, what is CJ's PB?
But his PB is like a minute and...
A minute?
10 seconds? Or in 10... Wait, a minute? Yeah, that's
PB
how fast
is
he is.
107.34.
Yeah, 1 minute, 7 seconds. That's his PB. The secret world record.
CJ could actually potentially PB still off of this.
Well, depending on how the last reverse bit warp goes.
Yeah, that was the potentially part.
Yes.
The last reverse bit warp has changed the fate of many, or almost actually. I don't think it has actually changed the outcome of any races, but it has almost changed the outcome of many races where both participants in the race have failed it.
Mm-hmm. Has made it much more close than it really should have been.
So it looks like Kitcot will be the first one to attempt the reverse bit warp. CJ actually still pretty far behind. It looks like that accidental inbounds is going
He
to waste a
doesn't
fair
need to
amount of time.
resave here. I don't know why he's doing that.
He's gonna die.
Yeah, but
yeah,
he doesn't need to
doesn't-
resave.
he
He's
doesn't need to save
already
again.
saved there.
Kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, CJ going for the cistern clip method of death warping, which and then accidentally refilling the air, which is, if done optimally, the ancient cistern death warp, or the ancient cistern clip method of death warping is like about 2 seconds faster than drowning. If drowning is done optimally, of course. But ancient cistern clip can be very tricky.
CJ once again.
Yeah, the only...
Oh wait, what is he
I
doing? He
think
already
he
has the
might be
whip.
caught in a void loop. Yeah, he needs to hit the loading zone for the cave, but he's actually caught in a void loop right now, which means he'll have to reset the game and then start again from where he last saved.
So thankfully he saved.
So I guess that saved. Yeah. Thankfully he actually saved there. Which would have been very unfortunate if he didn't. He would have had to get the whip again. Yeah. Now he has to death warp again, though.
Kitcot jump slashing all the way down into the Style
accidentally.
Master cutscene.
Yep.
Oh, and then getting the weird Style Master hit. And then, oh my goodness.
Getting it again.
No,
Nice.
he got the weird quarter heart damage from Style Master, which I don't know why it happened. And then
I
followed
have
by
no
the Style
idea.
Master whiff.
The warning shot. Yeah, typically if you jump into that cutscene, I don't know, typically you'll see runners just go out and then drown. Alright.
Oh, it looks like
grab it
CJ jumps
the
onto the rope. I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you run less risk of one, clipping inbounds, and two sorry. Yeah, you run less risk of one, clipping inbounds, and two, getting caught in a void loop, which can happen in several areas of this out of bounds kind of
I don't know, man.
zone.
I've never had that happen to me, and it's happened to me while I try and jump on the rope.
I
feel like jumping on the rope is actually way harder than just swimming into the zone. But maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah. Well, if you short hop onto the rope, it's a bit faster because you can like level yourself with the rope and not miss it, and it also doesn't add as much momentum, so you could start climbing it immediately. So it's not that much slower.
Kitcot with more weird diving troubles. It's looking
boy.
like he's having
This is gonna
trouble
make swimming. This is gonna
controlling
make
the
this.
camera.
Yeah, that's gonna actually make this next reverse bit warp very strange.
Well, it doesn't look like it's calibration issues. It just looks like he's not turning the camera for some reason. I don't know if that's by choice or what, but it just looks like he's not moving the camera to where it'd be easy to dive to the pillar.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to this last reverse bit warp.
As it always seems to do.
Yep.
So Kitcot here just needs to start the file and then enter the loading zone. And assuming he has proper positioning, CJ
And
with some whip
calibration.
trouble. Well, assuming he has proper positioning, he should have the victory.
You could also like die in Great Tree like 7 times, but
Now, it looks like he's playing it
not very likely.
extremely safe. Yeah, that won't have any issues.
It looked like it worked. Yeah. There
And
we
then
go.
having proper positioning. All right, so yeah, it would basically take a miracle at this point, a power outage for CJ to end up with the victory, because he does have the entire reverse bit warp still to do. And see shortly if Kitcot gets hit by a Keys, although it's looking like he's okay. All right, so the only thing at this point that could happen is Kitcot misses hitting Yerbal with the slingshot for all the seeds that he has. Which actually, I don't even think it's that bad, because I'm pretty sure there's a seed refill on the path up the Great Tree.
Yeah, there's like some of the weird fruits.
Yeah, they're like pears. I don't know what the heck they are. And they look like...
It looks more like a squash. Like some type of like weird gourd.
And with that, Kitcot has showed up.
So, dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
Welcome.
the victory.
Yeah, thanks. Jesus Christ, that was too close.
What a roller coaster at the end there. The
Yeah, I mean, about the brake slides, what can I say? Today just wasn't my day. I've had this habit where I've just been veering to the left way too much, and I think today just showed way too much, and it almost cost me. But thank God I got that third one.
Yeah, the third one was actually extremely close too. You were probably only a
I
few
know.
frames away from taking damage. That was very
Yeah.
close.
I appear to have a habit of doing that when it matters, but we're good. Yeah, I just know I need to practice that, because that was pretty close. That was too close, I think. But
Just run
That was
English.
very close.
Nah,
Yeah,
what do you
just
mean?
run English.
Just pull a me and run
Definitely.
English.
Run PAL and get the free head start.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah, I guess you would have PAL and not NTSCU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, you had a pretty solid run.
Oh yeah, it was. I think at Furor's Courage, I was 0.4 seconds ahead of world record. Then I kind of messed up my files on an RB. I was like, oh, well, god damn it. Then there was a whole brake sliding thing, which we've already discussed. Then it was pretty good from there, I think. So it was a solid run, except for the brake slides. It was just I seriously need to practice that, to be honest.
Yeah, the brake slides are
Yeah.
very, very difficult.
What were you
Yeah.
thinking
As
when the
well.
log didn't come down in sealed grounds? By the way,
I was
Oh, yeah.
thinking, bollocks.
and then just panicked and started the file.
Yeah. I didn't really know what to. I kind of knew what I did wrong. I was like, oh, I was meant to select file 3, then check, because I select file 2, I think, then check the statue. It's file 3. So it's like just that small error made me lost me like 2 minutes or something, but it's fine.
Yeah. Well, you could have just checked the statue in sealed grounds with file
That's
3.
true. Yeah, I didn't really think of that initially.
That's what actually, that's what the route used to do before
It is.
Azer realized that Deep Woods flags auto commit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to. I just wasn't thinking that, so I was like, I'll just do it again. Yeah, always nice to get the first race done.
Was that your first
And
race?
in the heat of the race,
Yep.
you really don't
Nice.
know. Like sometimes you just kind of like forget how to save things.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't actually know that you could do that, so I was kind of I thought that was my only option. But then people pointed, I was like, oh yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in time is always well, hindsight always 20/20, right?
Mm.
And CJ should be finishing real shortly here.
Yeah.
You get him in to
Should.
talk about his run. If he
Well, he
Like,
could still. But you might have just jinxed it because he can still bonk at the thing.
Yeah.
I did say should. I didn't say will.
Okay, that like sort of like half passes you. Yeah, sure.
Savage.
But if he plays it safe like you did, then there shouldn't be any issue here.
Yeah.
It
All
looked
right,
fine.
looks like he's good.
Yeah, it did look like he was playing it safe. Yeah.
And then once again in the
he's
proper position to get the void out and then fall onto the platform.
Which
Even though he
didn't
didn't
actually
have
need to do. Yeah.
So he had 4 hearts, and the fall does only deal 2 hearts of damage. So he could have, I guess, like... Well, I guess it's slightly more risky to go for the void out, even though it is realistically a very easy... very
unless you
lenient trick.
jump slash 2, it doesn't really save much time compared to not doing it.
Oh yeah, it's very
Also,
little.
if you getting trolled by the keys.
Yeah, good thing you
Kind of a showcase of why
4
English
hearts.
is safer there.
Yeah.
Because JP would have died there.
Shoutouts to the world record where it would have been 54, but then the keys was like, no, you. That was a very sad day. Yeah.
That was a very sad day. I was there.
Now, once again, the only mistake CJ can make is shooting at the stars in the sky instead of Yerbal and wasting all the seeds.
Yeah, usually after the Great Tree RB, I'm assuming it's not a super close race, you should really be in the clear, I think.
Oh yes, definitely.
Like, you can normally afford to die to the guys in the
All right.
even
Second
if-
try.
There we go.
Congratulations to CJ. Almost a PB. That's just about 1 minute off, I believe.
Give him a clap.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good.
So maybe he'll
This is
hop in
GG.
here.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, but no, I think with me, the brake slides, I just need to practice it in a race setting. Because I've been, like, I think when I was warming up, it was kind of hit or miss. I was already kind of nervous for it. But I just haven't been practicing it in the proper setting. I've just been doing it over and over again, which is a good way to do it, but not great to, like, do under pressure.
Yes.
Hey CJ,
Welcome.
how do you feel? You feel quiet? Because we don't hear you.
Quiet.
He's seething right now.
Alright, well,
Can you guys hear me now?
yeah, there
Yes.
we go.
There we go. Well, that race was closer than it should have been.
Yep.
That's all I really.
That's pretty much the consensus here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the expected outcome of the race, I think,
Yeah.
for most people.
Oh, 100%. I did not expect to win today. But I also did not expect to only lose by like 4 minutes.
Yeah. But I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
there's a-
Exto didn't expect to lose against Jasnix either. Like, this is Yerbal. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen in Yerbal, true. You're very correct.
Yerbal
Kitcot, what
is
did
the
you
great
fail? Did you-
equalizer of Skyward Sword.
Did the purple Kool-Aid get you?
Yeah, it got me twice,
Got him
and then it
twice.
almost got me the third time, but I was like,
Oh,
frames.
no.
You was just a
Okay.
few frames off from
Yeah,
getting Kool-Aid
it was
Man
just the
for
brake
third
slides just
time.
weren't my day
There
today.
were a million places where if I hadn't screwed something up, I probably could have taken this race.
Yeah, you
Well,
could have,
Probably,
yeah.
You had no extending blow and you had no cutscene skip.
So
I missed
that
cutscene
was
skip and
automatically.
extended blow and failed, or soft locked once in Cistern Clip and clipped back in once in Cistern Clip.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
And kick.
Cistern movement is very, very difficult. If you haven't
know.
practiced it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, clipping in was just rough. I was just like, I rolled a hair too late, so my muscle memory didn't kick in correctly. So I was just like, just a hair above the plane, so I ended up getting down out of bounds in the water.
Yeah.
And then the soft lock was really strange because I was in the water and then suddenly I was just falling, and I don't know what happened there.
That's a soft lock that I've only seen a few times.
It's
I
a soft
think-
lock. If you void out anywhere from like the rope beyond, you soft lock there.
I think it's if you fall into the void where there's water above no ground, you infinitely
Yes.
void. I think that's what it
is.
is.
Is that what the rules are? I'm not actually.
I'm pretty sure because if there's ground, then when you respawn, you'll fall through the water and land on the ground. But if there's no ground, then you'll respawn in the water and just fall into the void again.
It's interesting that the water doesn't catch you. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in like the
Uh,
standing up cutscene or something. I don't know. It's
yeah.
weird. Skyward Sword, dude. Weird game.
Yeah. What, you expect this game to make sense?
Yeah.
Rookie mistake.
Well, that was okay. So I'll just go over the bracket stuff. So I won
Excuse me?
that. So we'll go. I'm against Tado. Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
And then
It's
it's
come
50
full circle.
then it's no, because we like did a race as well before the
Yeah,
tournament.
I think the first ever Yerbal race in history was
Yeah.
you versus me.
I won that, by the way. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but you won with a 102. So
Well, yeah, but that was like my first
Clearly,
time.
we've both come a long way.
Hey,
Well, I got 1 of 4 this time, so just shut up.
My spell is best with the 1 and 6.
nah.
Okay, so and then so it's me and Tado, which is some point, and it's CJ and 64 at some point as well. I don't have the times up. Maybe Ricky could tell you the times.
At the moment, the times for CJ and 64-bit is January 19th at midnight UTC. And,
Yep, that's not a typo. That's correct.
And Kitcot and versus Tato is the 19th of January at 8 o'clock UTC.
Yep.
PM. So,
Usual
yeah.
Skyward Sword time.
yes, the usual Skyward Sword time. And then on the 23rd of January, we have Exto and Jaznix08 at 7 p.m. UTC. So
Also come in for
next week's pretty packed.
7 p.m. UTC? Yes, 7
That's
p.m.
what it
UTC.
says.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's what you organized. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, all good. That's a rematch. We already faced off.
Yep.
Jaznix won. So, we'll see how this next one goes in the loser bracket. I think all of these races coming up should be pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like the Kitcot versus Tado matchup will be very interesting. The CJ versus 64 should also be very close match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess with
Exciting
that,
week for Yerbal.
that's pretty much it for today's race.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Alright, so thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to our runners, Kitcot and cjs0789. Thank you to our commentators, Tato ISR and Exto. Over on the ZSR3 channel, they have a Wind Waker Randomizer bi-weekly race. We're going to go raid them. Later on today at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the almost final qualifier for the Ocarina Time Randomizer Season 4 tournament. Tomorrow is the very final qualifier, so almost getting to the brackets for that tournament. Later on tonight, again at 10 p.m., we have the Zelda 2 Randomizer weekly race. Oh, lots of stuff on the schedule for tomorrow, including our first ever Skyward Sword Randomizer race showcase.
Oh yeah,
Woo!
I'm playing
That's
that. I
going to
forgot
be
about that.
exciting.
Get excited.
Good job.
And
Sorry.
yeah, so check out the schedule for anything else you want to see. We're going to go raid ZSR3 right now for the Wind Waker Randomizer race. I hope you all had a great time watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day.